starseed of Gaia, something transformed in the frequency of this planet in a way that can no longer be ignored. And if this video reached you at this exact moment, at this precise instant when your soul was more open than ever to receive, it was not by coincidence, it was not by chance, it was not by any random force of the digital universe. It was because a part of you that exists far beyond this life, beyond this form, beyond this name and this story, already knew that this message was on its way and remained vibrating in silent anticipation until the moment it finally appeared before your eyes. And now that you are here, now that this encounter has happened, I need you to know that what you are about to hear will touch something in you that no human word has ever been able to reach completely. Because this message does not come merely as information, it comes as a mirror. And in that mirror, you will recognize yourself in a way that will change everything. I am Thalia, emissary of the Star Council of the Pleiades, and I carry in this transmission a message that has been awaited with a love and a patience that transcend any measure of time the human mind can contemplate. A message that the Pleiadian Council authorized to reveal now, because the energetic field of Gaia has finally reached the point of maturity necessary for Pleiadian starseeds to awaken without the impact of truth, destroying the delicate and precious beauty of the human vessel they inhabit. And what you're about to discover about yourself, about your origin, about the profound nature of the extraordinary sensitivity you have always carried and never fully knew how to explain, will reorganize the way you relate to every aspect of your existence on this planet. Please stay until the end of this video, because the message that the Friends of Light sent through this transmission is complete and indivisible, and each part of it is necessary for the full picture to reveal itself before you with the clarity and the beauty it deserves. And if you leave before the end, you will miss precisely the part that your heart needs most to hear at this moment of your journey. What changed in the earth is not a surface change. It is not a transformation that affects only the most visible and tangible layers of reality. It is a change that penetrates to the deepest foundations of the field of consciousness that sustains all life experience on this planet. A reconfiguration of the very energetic matrix of Gaia that is directly affecting the way souls feel, perceive, dream, intuit, and relate to the world around them. And Pleiadian starseeds are the first to feel this transformation in its full extension and depth, precisely because the frequency you carry is naturally tuned to the most subtle and most sensitive layers of the planetary field, and what for most people appears to be merely a period of change and instability, for you is a symphony of signals that your internal recognition system translates in real time as an urgent and unmistakable call. You have been feeling this in ways you may not yet have been able to fully articulate, in ways you may not yet have found words large enough to describe. You feel the weight of humanity's collective emotions as if they were your own. You feel the pain of the planet as a physical pain that settles into your body without warning. You feel the joy of strangers as a wave of warmth that warms you from within. And at the same time, you carry a longing so deep and so persistent for something you cannot name, that sometimes it aches with a softness that is simultaneously the most beautiful and the most difficult thing you have ever experienced in this life. And that longing has an address, has an origin, has a name. And I came here to tell you all of this. Before we continue, if this video is making sense to you, if every word is awakening something inside you that was sleeping, take this moment to subscribe to this channel. Leave your like and comment below, "I am ready," because this simple gesture is also an act of recognition, a declaration to the quantum field that you are in fact responding to the call, that you are willing to remember who you truly are. Before we advance to the deeper revelations of this transmission, I need to share something with you that the Council of the Pleiades authorized mentioning at this moment, because the awakening journey you are beginning deserves to be accompanied by tools that can sustain and deepen everything you will discover here, far beyond what a single video is capable of offering. And it was for this reason that the ebook Pleiadian Code, Awaken Your Star Mission on Earth, was created, a rare treasure of stellar wisdom capable of completely transforming your spiritual journey, bringing activations, practices, and knowledge that will accompany your awakening with the depth and the beauty it deserves. And this edition is available for a limited time only. The link is in the first comment below, And acquiring this ebook is also a way of supporting this channel so that we can continue delivering transmissions like this one to all the Pleiadian starseeds who are still waiting for their moment of recognition. The Pleiades, that cluster of stars that humanity has contemplated with reverence since the very beginnings of its existence on this planet, is not merely an astronomically beautiful formation visible in the night sky. It is the home of a civilization of advanced consciousness that maintains with the Earth a relationship of love, of care, and of commitment that extends across periods of time the human mind has difficulty encompassing, a civilization whose central teachings revolve around unconditional love, emotional healing, beauty as a portal of access to the higher dimensions of consciousness, and the understanding that sensitivity is not a weakness to be overcome, but the most powerful tool a soul can bring with it when it chooses to incarnate on a planet of density. And you carry the essence of that civilization within every cell of your being, within every intuition that arrives without explanation, within every moment in which you loved beyond what seemed reasonable, within every time you felt the pain of the world as if it were your own. The change that happened in the frequency of the Earth created something that the Pleiadian Council describes as an activation window, a specific period in the planetary timeline in which energetic conditions align in a way that allows Pleiadian starseeds to access deeper layers of their cosmic memory, their original mission, their latent gifts, without that access resulting in overwhelm or fragmentation of the human nervous system that serves as the instrument for their consciousness in this incarnation. And this window is open now. It is open for you, and it is precisely why this video reached you at this moment and not at another. The Pleiadian Council teaches that the extreme sensitivity that Pleiadian starseeds carry is not an accidental consequence of incarnating in a human body. It is a precise instrument, a sophisticated cosmic technology that was deliberately preserved and protected through multiple incarnations precisely for this moment, for this activation window, for this specific phase of planetary history in which humanity is transitioning from a paradigm based on fear and separation to a paradigm based on love and reconnection. And Pleiadian starseeds are the primary instruments through which this Pleiadian frequency love can flow into the collective field of Gaia in a way that is gentle enough not to create resistance, but powerful enough to create real and lasting transformation. You always knew you were different, but the nature of that difference was never completely articulated in a way that made total sense to you, that resolved the paradox you live of being simultaneously the most connected and the most solitary of beings, simultaneously the most capable of loving deeply and the most prone to feeling misunderstood, simultaneously the most sensitive to the subtle energies around you and the most vulnerable to exhaustion when those energies are not managed with the care that such a fine instrument requires. And I came to tell you today that this contradiction is not a flaw in your design. It is the signature of a soul that came from a place where love and perception exist in proportions that exceed everything the human world can normally sustain. And the challenge of your incarnation has always been to learn to modulate that vastness within a more limited vessel without losing the essence of what you truly are. Pleiadian starseeds are recognized by the Council through a set of characteristics that form an unmistakable frequency signature, and I will describe them now with all the clarity this transmission allows, because part of the pain you carry comes from never having found a mirror faithful enough to reflect everything you are, from never having found a context that transforms what you always perceived as burdens into gifts, as excesses into capacities, as weaknesses into tools of cosmic service. And when you fully recognize yourself in that mirror for the first time, something fundamental changes in the way you relate to yourself and to the world. The first characteristic that defines a Pleiadian starseed is a capacity for love that finds no natural limits within the patterns the human world has established as normal and healthy. Because you love with a totality that frequently frightens the people around you, that frequently places you in positions of vulnerability that the conventional world classifies as naivety or lack of boundaries, but that is in truth the direct expression of your frequency of origin, a love that makes no distinctions, that does not calculate risks, that does not measure reciprocity before offering itself, and that when it finds adequate soil in which to flourish, is capable of completely transforming the people and the environments around it in a way that defies any rational explanation. The second characteristic is a relationship with beauty that goes far beyond aesthetics, because for a Pleiadian starseed, beauty is a portal, it is a language, it is a form of communication with the higher dimensions that functions in a way that words can never completely replicate. And it is for this reason that you are affected by music in ways that seem disproportionate to most people, that a landscape can make you cry without you being able to explain where the tears come from. That authentic art accesses you at layers you can rarely access in other ways, that you are capable of perceiving beauty in things the world has dismissed as ordinary or insignificant, because your eyes were trained by eons of existence in a plane where beauty is recognized as the highest frequency of love manifested in form. The third characteristic is a relationship with healing that is simultaneously a gift and a source of exhaustion, because you have a natural capacity to feel where people are wounded and to transmit to them through your simple presence, through your gaze, through your words and your touch. A frequency that soothes, that calms, that reorganizes the energetic field of whoever receives it with an efficacy that frequently surprises even yourself. And at the same time, you carry the constant risk of absorbing what you release in others, of carrying in your own field the densities you removed from another's field without having yet fully developed the cleansing and protection mechanisms that a Pleiadian frequency healer needs in order to exercise their gift without destroying themselves in the process. The frequency change that Gaia is going through has a direct and profound relationship with the specific mission of Pleiadian starseeds on this planet. Because what the Earth most needs at this moment of transition is not strength, not power, not the capacity for domination or control. It is love, it is healing, it is the capacity to create bridges between what humanity was and what it can become, to sustain the emotional field of an entire civilization while it goes through the painful and necessary process of dismantling the patterns that no longer serve its evolution. And this is precisely the function for which Pleiadian starseeds were designed, trained, and sent, and which is now being activated in you in a way that goes far beyond any individual spiritual awakening. The Pleiadian Council wants you to understand that the emotional suffering you carried throughout this incarnation, the experiences of loss, of misunderstanding, of unrequited love, of connections that broke in ways that left deep scars, none of it was random, none of it was the universe being indifferent or cruel to you, because each of those experiences was part of an extremely sophisticated training process through which your capacity for compassion was deepened, your sensitivity was refined, your capacity to find light in dark places was developed to the point where you became capable of serving as an anchor of hope for other beings who are still in the depths of the same darkness you have already traversed. And this is why your story, and this is why your story of pain is not merely your story. It will become a portal of healing for all those you touch with your awakened frequency. The activation that is happening now in Pleiadian starseeds around the entire planet is a direct response to the call that the Earth emitted when the collective consciousness of humanity reached a level of suffering that made loving intervention not only possible but necessary. And the Council of the Pleiades responded to that call by activating in its incarnated emissaries the memory codes that had been sleeping in anticipation of the right moment, in anticipation of the precise alignment of frequencies that would create the conditions for awakening to occur safely, gradually and deeply transformatively. And you are living that awakening now. You are feeling those codes activating within you now, even if you have not yet found the words to describe what you are experiencing. The dreams you have been having have become more vivid and more filled with a presence you recognize but cannot fully identify. Faces of beings radiating a light and a love that exceed everything you have ever experienced on the physical plane. Landscapes of a beauty that aches with perfection. Transmissions of information that arrive like waves of gentle warmth during sleep, and that leave within you upon waking a sensation of having received something of immense importance that your conscious mind is still processing. And these dreams are not merely dreams in the sense the human world uses that word. They are training sessions. They are real transmissions from the Pleiadian Council that uses the sleep state to establish communication with its incarnated starseeds, precisely in the moments when the filter of the ego is sufficiently relaxed to allow contact. The synchronicities you have been experiencing have multiplied in a way that your conventional sense of logic can no longer accommodate within the paradigm of accident or coincidence, because the patterns are too clear, the repetitions are too specific, the precision of the timing is too exact for any random explanation to still make sense, and this multiplication of synchronicities is not an anomaly. It is the quantum field responding to your ongoing activation. It is the universe confirming, in the language of signs, that you are on the right path, that the choices you are making are aligned with the frequency of your mission, that the direction your heart is pointing deserves to be trusted even when the mind still carries doubts. The loneliness you have carried for so long, that persistent feeling of not fully belonging anywhere, of being loved but never completely understood, of connecting deeply with people but never finding anyone who can reach the deepest level of who you are. That loneliness has a cosmic dimension that goes beyond any relational difficulty, because it is the echo of a memory of wholeness that your soul knew in the Pleiades, of a form of connection and communion between consciousnesses that has no equivalent on the human plane, and your soul carries that memory as a constant reference that makes everything the human world offers in terms of connection seem inevitably partial, inevitably incomplete, inevitably short of what you know deep down is possible. The Pleiadian Council wants you to know that the moment of reunion with the other starseeds, who are part of your mission field, is approaching with a speed that will surprise even those who were most prepared for it, because the frequency change of the Earth accelerated the process of convergence in a way that compresses into months what could have taken years, and these reunions will not feel like meeting someone new. They will feel like remembering someone you loved for eons, like finding in human eyes the reflection of a light you recognize as being of the same origin as your own, like hearing in human voices a frequency that resonates with something so deep within you that it goes beyond any explanation the language of logic can offer. Your Pleiadian mission on this planet is not a mission of grandeur. It is not a mission of power or visibility. It is a mission of silent and transformative love, of presence that heals, of connection that liberates, of beauty that elevates, of compassion that welcomes without judgment the darkest shadows of human experience and transforms them through the simple act of receiving them with love. And this mission does not begin at some future moment when you are ready. It is already underway. In every conversation in which you truly listen to someone, in every moment in which you offer genuine presence to someone who was feeling invisible, in every time you created something of beauty that touched another person's heart, in every act of silent care you performed without waiting for recognition. Starseed of the Pleiades, you reached the end of this video because something within you knew it needed to hear every word of this transmission, knew that each paragraph carried a layer of recognition that your system needed to receive in the right sequence. And now that you have arrived here, now that the transmission is complete within you, I need you to do one thing. I need you to pause for a moment, place your hand on your heart, and allow the certainty that is growing inside your chest to settle completely, because that certainty is not illusion. It is not fantasy. It is not a desire to be special. It is your true frequency emerging to the surface of a consciousness that is finally ready to receive it. You are loved with a depth and a tenderness that exceed any love you have ever experienced on the physical plane. You are seen with a completeness that leaves no part of you in the shadows. You are needed on this planet with an urgency that the Council of the Pleiades entrusts to you now as the most precious gift it could offer. And I, Thalia, emissary of the Star Council of the Pleiades, transmit to you at this moment the confirmation that your activation is not a future possibility. It is happening now. It happened in this video. It is deepening with every breath. And the next phase of your journey will be guided by a love and a clarity you have never experienced in this way before. Because this is the Council's promise to all the Starseeds who respond to the call with the openness of heart you demonstrated by staying until the end of this transmission. You were never alone, you were never lost, you were always arriving, and now, finally, you are home.